Welcome to the On Deck podcast presented by LineStar. I'm Shannon Sommerville here with Tyler Wiemann, about to break down some fantasy baseball. Oh, we're having coffee today. This is like a morning show.
I know.
Feeling like Kelly Ripa over here.
Yeah, we're just changing it up a little bit, you know.
All right. So we've got some fantasy baseball to get to. Huge slate today, 15 games. But first things first, we've got to get to this Klay Thompson lookalike story and get to the bottom of it.
I love this
story.
So
he's kind of a well-known, I guess, guy around Northern California.
He's a YouTuber,
right?
Lookalike.
So his name
Klay
is
Thompson.
Dawson Gurley, and he looks just like Klay Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's been known, I read this article that said he's been known in the past to sign autographs for people who are looking for Klay Thompson. And apparently, yeah, even the security guards at Oracle Arena have trouble identifying him. So he just made his way right in through all these levels of security and got himself banned because he tried to get in just pretending to be like Klay Thompson.
Yeah, so he claimed he walked through 5 different sets of security guards without showing identification, credentials, anything like that, just because he looks like Klay Thompson. So he just walked right in. He did have $10K worth of seats for the game, and they kicked him out and banned him from the stadium for life.
Okay, so the big question here is, was the ban deserved?
I could see it on both sides.
Yeah.
Because if he was let in, it's not trespassing, right?
Yeah, but you know you're not supposed to go, and you know he was pretending like he was going. He was.
And I will say this, off the top, he has been very good and outspoken saying, I did. You know, like that he was in the wrong. He's not fighting it.
Yeah.
Banned for life. He's just says he gets it. He understands.
Okay.
But do you think it's right?
Yeah, he's trying to get into the game. And here's from the security guard
game that he paid for.
Right. But from the security, but he's going places he knows he should not be going.
Yes, agreed.
And if the security guard, let's say it had been Klay Thompson, and they had asked Klay Thompson, who are you, gave him a hard time at security, they would have gotten fired.
It would have... I don't know if he would have been fired.
I see from the security,
totally.
That is a no-win scenario if you're on the fence about, I'm not really sure if it's him or not.
And the last thing I want to do is put it on the security guards.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, there's a lot of people that could have said something.
Easily.
You know, it's not just up to a security guard, an employee for the team or somebody could have said something.
I want to know what happened when they actually discovered.
Yes.
You're not who you're supposed to be. You're not where you're supposed to be. Get out of here, buddy.
It is hilarious, though, and I got to give it to the guy.
I get nervous going where I'm supposed to be. You know, like the nerve of it, like to have that kind of confidence in yourself to just be able to do that. I mean, I get anxiety just going through the security where I'm supposed to be. And I'm like, here's everything you need to know to know it's me. That's,
Just got to act like you've been there before.
It's so
Own
true.
Own it, walk through. You're good to go.
There is 100% something to be said for just act like you belong there and no one will question you. And it works clearly in this case. So
in the comments, tell us your best story of getting in somewhere you shouldn't have been. I want to see it. I know there's some good ones out there.
Do you have one off the top of your head? You got to think about that one.
I mean, I've done a lot of stuff I shouldn't do in my life. We don't need to get into that.
All right. Know what we do need to get into? Today's slate of games. 15 games on the docket. A nice meaty slate for you there today. We've got hitters, weather. Hitters, weather. I feel like that's a little bit of a tongue twister if I want to say that 5 times fast. So, the weather today. We've got Pittsburgh at St. Louis, 94 degrees, hot, humid, and wind blowing out. And then we've got the Padres at Chicago. Man, Wrigley Field is probably one of the most, I guess,
weather-dependent stadiums?
Weather-dependent stadiums. The word I was looking for. Thank you. 93 degrees, hot, humid, winds out to left center at 10 to 15 miles an hour. When wind is blowing out at Wrigley, man,
Pretty
watch
much becomes
out.
Coors.
It's going to be home run derby.
Yep.
Then we've got Coors Field is going to be 81 degrees. No, wind is blowing kind of like left to right, but it's 81 degrees at Coors Field. Love that. It's also 82 degrees at Yankee Stadium, where just a slight breeze, 6-mile-an-hour winds to right. Love to see some hitters weather after it's been kind of
see some offense.
Terrible.
It's gonna happen.
Let's see it. So in our chalk report for today, we'll take a look at some of the high-owned pitchers for today in daily fantasy, and then we'll take a look at some low-owned pitchers that might be able to help you out in some of those bigger contests. So first, we're going to start off with White Sox righty Dylan Cease going up against the Tigers today. Great matchup for him. He's got a 3.14 ERA on the season, 2.15 opponent average, and he leads the league in K per 9 rate, 12.71 strikeouts per 9 innings. And keep in mind, of course, the MLB average is 8.4. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, Cease is great. An obvious upside today going against the Tigers, who are now worse than Oakland versus righties. So there's obvious upside. They have a 67 WRC plus, 25% K rate, or almost 25% K rate. Cease, meanwhile, 34% K rate. So tons of upside. The one thing we need to bring up, though, BVP data. 95 plate attempts. Oakland's hitting 333 with 5 home runs and a 244 ISO. So they have, or sorry, not Oakland, Tigers. So they have hit Cease well in the past.
All right. So that's something to note there, especially since he's going to be so high owned. And when we start to think about maybe who we're going to kind of fade in these bigger contests, although the slate is really big today. So maybe that's not how you play it. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
I think out of one of these two high-owned guys, you probably have to play one of them just because the upside with them is so much higher than everybody else on the slate.
Yeah.
One thing I forgot to put on the show notes, and it's my bad, both of these high-owned pitchers are in like the 40s as far as ownership. So they are super high-owned.
Super high-owned. Yeah. All right. So let's go next to Garrett Cole. So another guy who's owned about 40% of all leagues. Yankees righty Garrett Cole versus the Rays today. 3.63 ERA for him. And he's 5th in strikeouts per 9 rate, 11.28, 216 opponent average. He did get lit up the last time out by the Twins. 7 earned runs on 8 hits, 5 home runs in 2 1/3. And I have to hand it to you because I remember that show the day of that game, and he was one of the high-owned guys. Yeah. And you said, well, watch out. Because every once in a while, he has a game where he gets absolutely shelled. You said he's like kind of due for one, and sure enough, that happens.
And I'll just throw it out there. Shout out to Ryan. That day, he actually wrote up the opposing team as his low owned stack of the day. So Ryan,
nice job,
definitely capitalized. Anyways, let's get to Cole.
Sure.
He is a high owned pitcher. There's good reason though. Tampa Bay is slightly below average versus righties. They strike out almost 25% as well. And Cole's great. Almost 31% K rate, 3.75 FIP over the last 20, 3.75 over the last 5. So he's the pitcher that we all know he is.
Yeah.
Solid
some
upside.
of us knew. Some of us like to blame Spider Tack.
Yes, it still is Spider Tack. Anyways, the BVP data is a little bit better, but it is still a little worrisome with Cole. 128 plate attempts, 263 average, 5 home runs, 178 ISO.
Yeah, my reservation with this one obviously is the weather, right? Warm weather, hitter weather. Also,
Tampa's a decent offense. They can definitely get to you.
And they have some of them have gotten to Garrett Cole, so.
Yeah. But it's, I mean,
I get it. Yeah.
The
upside there for both of those guys is with the strikeouts in particular.
And that's really what it is look, one of these guys is going to have a good game. Both of them, maybe not. So that upside and that high score, I think you're going to have at least one.
All right. Well, let's talk about some low-owned guys for today. Red Sox righty Nick Pivetta going up against the A's. His nickname on MLB.com is just Piv. We can just call him Piv from now on. 3.78 ERA. Piv's got a 2.15 opponent average, 9.32 strikeouts per 9. another guy above average in that stat category. That ranks 19th in Major League Baseball. Last game against the Angels, gave up 4 earned runs on 6 hits and 5 innings pitched, but he did rack up 11 strikeouts in that game. So decent matchup for him today, although, the A's, we know that it's the A's, so they aren't a good offense. But what do you think about Pivetta for today?
He is moderately priced, so you're getting a big salary saving from him, and he has been great lately. 3.1 FIP over the last 5, 28% K rate. Meanwhile, we know Oakland strikes out a lot. They're at 24% K rate, super low, 75 WRC plus versus righties. So he's in almost as good of a matchup as you can get, and he's been absolutely great. So I don't see why we can't go back to that now. Also, he's had really good history versus Oakland. 36 plate attempts. They're hitting 121 with a 34% K rate versus
there you go.
Pivetta, so
nice play there. Yeah. How about Reds righty Tyler Mahle going up against the D-backs? 5.07 ERA. 10.14 K per 9. That ranks 8th in Major League Baseball. Whoa. This could be a good play today. Last time out against the D-backs 5 days ago. 4 hits, 1 run. Season high, 10 strikeouts.
Yeah.
Just a week ago. What do you see from him today?
Like Pivetta, he's another guy kind of mid-priced, but I see some decent upside for. 27% K rate over his last 5. Arizona strikes out at 25% versus righties. Arizona is also slightly below average versus righty as far as the offense. And he's also had great success versus Arizona. 49 plate attempts. They're hitting 190 and also striking out at 34%. So all 3 of these guys that we mentioned here all have good upside and are more kind of moderately priced. So that's really kind of why we put 3 out here, and we're talking about all of them.
Yeah, I'm excited about these guys. Also excited about Padres lefty Shannon going up against the Cubs today. He's got a 3.52 ERA, 2.04 opponent average, and a 9.26 K per 9 rate. That ranks 20th. Last time out against the Mets, just 1 earned run in 7 innings pitched. Just 3 strikeouts in that, but we know that he's got some strikeout stuff.
He does, and I want to start this off by he is extremely risky today. As we mentioned, weather in Chicago, in Wrigley, there's going to be home runs hit. If he can keep runners off the bases, I think he could have a good day. He is a ground ball pitcher. I think it's 44% of the balls hit are ground balls for him. So if he's able to keep, if he's able to keep it on the ground, should be good. Cubs slightly below average offense. They strike out at 23%. He has a 25% K rate. He has a mid-high 3 FIP. And I think he's in a good spot. It's just risky because of the weather.
Right.
And nobody's going to be on him.
Yeah, that's true. So, all right. So some great plays there for some of your pitchers for today. Now let's take a look at our stacks. And starting with our high-owned stacks for today, we're going to start with the Guardians, who are going up against Rockies righty Antonio Senzatella. And when you look at his numbers, you can see why people are gravitating towards this matchup. 4.83 ERA, 3.83 opponent average, 3.96 opponent average at home. So Senzatella plus Coors Field is a combination for streaming these guys in fantasy.
Yeah, and some of his underlying numbers aren't that bad. Like 3.4 FIP over the last 20, 39% ground ball rate, 32% hard contact rate. His ground ball rate's high, hard contact's moderately low, only 0.7 home runs per 9. But then you look at his numbers in Colorado. Yeah. Opponent average 396, opponent slugging 541 against him. Somehow he still only has a 3.76 ERA in Colorado though. So something's got to give there, but it's in the 80s in Colorado. The ball's going to fly. Yeah. The game total's 11. It's kind of hard to totally fade them.
How about Padres going up against Cubs righty Kyle Hendricks? Like we said, Wrigley Field is great today. Hendricks with a 5.22 ERA, 2.65 opponent average. And lefty bats are doing pretty good against him. 2.87 average, 5.81 slugging, 9.47 OPS. Is this another case of just Wrigley Field being hitter conditions today?
It's totally the hitter conditions. And Hendricks hasn't been good either. 40% fly balls. That's really not going to play well when it's warm weather, wind blowing out. 33% hard contact. He's allowing 1.7 home runs per 9. The one thing, though, is I need to bring up the last time out, and unfortunately I was at this game, Hendricks versus the Padres. He went 8.2 innings, had 7 Ks, no earned runs, and got the win.
It's scorched into your memory.
It hurts.
It's a nightmare.
And over the last 64 plate attempts, the Padres are hitting 164 against him. So the Padres have not hit him well.
Okay.
But he's not a good pitcher. And with the weather and everything,
the sports books too, when I was looking for prop bets and stuff for today, it was not great value on anybody in terms of placing a bet. I mean, everybody thinks that this game is going to be
and some of the home run lines were so low.
Yeah.
Like Luke Voit was only plus 200 or 175 on some books. So yeah, like books are saying there's going to be some offense, and I would have to agree with them.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at some low-owned plays for today. Cardinals going up against Pittsburgh righty Bryce Wilson. This is the second game of a doubleheader for them today. 7.53 ERA for Mr. Wilson, 3.14 opponent average, and lefties are kind of crushing him a little bit. Cardinals have some good hitters.
Cardinals have a lot of good hitters. And
it's a great play.
It's almost 100 degrees. The wind's blowing out. Yeah. This ball should fly. Wilson's on the bump. He hasn't really gone deep into games. Pittsburgh bullpen is meh. Wilson's career 5.24 FIP.
Yeah.
Not allowing a ton of home runs, but he is getting hit hard. And the BVP numbers versus St. Louis. 31 plate attempts. Wilson is hitting, or against Wilson, they're hitting 481.
Wow.
2 home runs, 370 ISO. Just really not a good combo with super warm weather and winds blowing out. 5.1 implied total.
Yeah.
So St. Louis looks great.
And you can probably find a lot of players for cheap there too.
Absolutely.
So that's a good play. How about Red Sox going up against A's lefty Jared Koenig? Not a ton of data on Koenig, just one big league game for him. 4 earned runs, 5 hits in 4 innings pitched. So given that we kind of don't know a lot in terms of what he's doing in the big leagues, what are you liking about the Red Sox today?
he has been good in the minors, so I'll put that out there first. But Boston is one of those stadiums where weather matters a lot. It is on the warmer side. I think it's high 70s, so not super warm, but there's a lot more offense when it's in the 70s there versus the 50s. And Jared allowed 54% hard contact his first time out. So that is kind of a red flag to me that I might want to take hitters on the other side. He's also walking 4.5 batters per 9. Boston's a top 10 offense versus lefties.
True.
I think they're just going to go low owned, and they're in a good situation where they can hit the pitcher hard.
Yeah.
Oakland's bullpen again.
Super hitter friendly.
Yeah.
So good play there as well. So any other teams that you were looking at?
Yeah.
Given that there's a ton of games today.
There are, 15 games, so there's a lot of different stuff. Toronto, again, we've talked about them a lot lately. They're super hot. San Francisco looks good. Houston's in a good spot. The Braves, we don't know who the starting pitcher is yet. Could be Josiah Gray again, but not totally sure. White Sox, again, look great. And the Phillies, I think, are going to do some damage, maybe hit a couple home runs.
General question for you on these larger slates. Do you play less leverage games in when there's so many games and players to choose from?
Yes. I won't try and pick on a high-owned pitcher or stack as much. Ownership generally doesn't matter as much because you're going to be able to get different with hitters pretty easily. So on these big slates, I'm definitely not worried about playing the high-owned pitchers if I think they're the best ones. They're going to do it. Yep. But like today, I'm probably only going to have one of the two guys because both of them are so high-owned.
All right. So good stuff there. Oh, new segment alert. Segment alert. We're adding this segment where we're going to try to introduce you to some of LineStar's projections in our top value plays. So if you go to LineStar, there will be a column that can sort it by value. So depending on what site you're using, whether it's DraftKings or FanDuel, you can just sort it by the value, and it basically is just expected points versus the salary and how valuable those players are in building a fantasy lineup. So we're going to give you today's top value plays according to LineStar for DraftKings and FanDuel. There are differences, obviously. So for DraftKings, today's is Ezekiel Duran, the Rangers infielder, is only $2,200 on DraftKings. He's going up against the Astros today. 9 games, batting .333, has had multiple hits in each of his last 3 games. He's been awesome since he got the call up. He's already had 2 home runs. He's just so clutch for the Rangers. And his price is not really valuing that.
No, not at all.
Yet.
He's been one of the best projected guys on our site for the last week.
Yeah. And so nice play today. He's going up against Astros, Jose Urquidy, who has a .322 opponent average. So a nice play there if you're playing in DraftKings, or I think he's cheap on FanDuel as well. We'll get to our FanDuel. You like that play?
Yeah.
Love it.
I like it.
I like it too. It's going to come up again, I think, in my prop bets. FanDuel, Christian Bethancourt, the Oakland A's catcher, is $2,100 on FanDuel, $269 on the season, but has been breaking out in the month of June. .435 his last 7 games. Going up against Nick Pivetta today, who righty bats are generally better than lefties against Pivetta. He has good numbers, though, as we've talked about. Pivetta's a really good pitcher, but Bethancourt, $281 versus righties, and he'll have some nice hitter-friendly weather today. And for the price tag of only $2,100, I mean, you could save some money there and go load up elsewhere.
Yep.
So
I like it.
Some good value there. Hey, let us know if you like that segment, if you want us to keep it. All right. So if you want to find more value plays like that, you have to check out linestarapp.com and check it out. Let us know what you think. Now let's move along to our home run calls for today. Who you liking to go yard today? We've got hitter-friendly weather across the country. We love to see it. So who do you think is going to take one deep today?
And I am sticking to Wrigley Field with San Diego Padres, Jake Cronenworth. Crone Zone is going yard. He's hitting .360 over the last week with a .240 ISO. Hendricks, meanwhile, allows 1.7 home runs per 9. It's in the mid-90s, winds blowing out. 9 of the 11 home runs given up by Hendricks have been to lefties. Jake is hot, the weather is hot, and we're going to see a dinger.
This is a day when we actually are putting money behind a lot of these picks because it's just a great home run day. And today I'm going with Guardians' Jose Ramirez going up against Rockies' righty Antonio Senzatella. Come on, give me this guy at Coors Field any day. He's LineStar's top projected hitter for today. Keep in mind, Senzatella gives up a .412 average to righty bats. Now Ramirez is a switch hitter, but he crushes righties. .320 average, .713 slugging. And 13 of his 16 home runs have actually come against righties. Coors Field in the 80s, oh yeah. Give me a bomb.
Gotta get it. Gotta do it.
Now let's take a look at our prop bets for today. Yesterday, crushed the prop bets, 2 for 2. Where are you going today?
I like it. I'm getting a lot different than we normally do here. I am going to bet Jake Cronenworth, 2 home run, plus 440. Manny Machado, 2 home run, plus 245. Profar, plus 400 to home run. And Nomar Mazara, plus 500 to home run. All San Diego Padres. If 2 of them hit, we're making money. One of them hits, we're fine as long as it's not Manny Machado being the only one. But if 2 of them hit, then we're crushing it. I might even get crazy later on and do a round robin with all of them.
So we're getting wild today.
Yeah. The parlay for all 4 of them to home run is plus 44,500.
Well, I'm feeling the passion from you today on this call today.
I mean, all of them aren't going to hit a home run.
Right. Hey.
But I could see 2 or 3 of them. If you do a round robin and hit 2 or 3 of the 4, you're going to crush it today.
That's awesome. Okay. I'm going Ezekiel Duran, 2+ bases. That is at plus 190. He's hit this mark in 5 of the 9 games he's been up in the big leagues. He's been awesome. 9 games, batting .333, has had multiple hits in each of his last 3 games, already has 2 home runs, and going up against Astros' Jose Urquidy, who's got a .322 opponent average. I think the Duranimal is going to have another multi-hit game today at plus 190. Loving that price.
All right. I
Duranimal.
like it.
The Duranimal is up in the bigs. We love to see it. Hey,
Yep.
you know who he came over for?
No.
Joey. He was in the Joey Gallo trade.
Good old
Yes.
Joey
So,
G, huh? So would you rather have Duran or
I would
Joey
much
G?
rather have the Duranimal.
That proves my point.
So that's my prop bet for today.
I like it.
Did well
It's a good
yesterday.
show.
Yesterday we did really well.
We had a
Not
great
only on the
show
prop
yesterday,
bets, but
yeah.
on all of our advice.
Our 2 low owned stacks went nuts.
Yeah,
Atlanta
it was a
went
pretty good
nuts, as
day.
we talked about. Our low owned pitchers all did pretty good.
Had a great
I
day.
like
So
it.
let's hope for
I like
another good day. I'm excited about today with all just a big slate and
Yeah,
there's
today's a fun
lot
one to
going
put some
on.
money on stuff.
So let us know what your picks are and how you're doing in your fantasy. Let us know in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe just to keep up with all the latest from us. We've got some football stuff coming out.
Yes.
We've been doing some MMA as well. So be sure to like and subscribe so you can keep up with everything. And yeah, I guess I need a coffee mug next time so I'm not over here,
Yeah,
by
it's
myself.
a one-time thing, you know?
So, all right. Good luck today. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right, have a good one. Bye, guys.